Building a tiny house isn't only about building the home that you want, it's also about building the life that you want, designing a space that's completely of your choosing. And here we're about to visit an amazing tiny house that's done just that and so much more. Hey Fabian, how's it going?
Kia ora, Bryce. Welcome to my place.
It is my pleasure to be here, and what a place it is. This is incredible.
Thank you. I love it here too, yes.
So first of all, how did you come to be living in a tiny house?
I was inspired by tiny house living mainly from the sustainable aspect of trying to minimize my lifestyle, have less, and also the idea of owning my own place in an environment where the real estate market is really quite inaccessible.
Yeah.
I thought this might be a good way to get into the whole way of life.
Absolutely, and what you've created here is just beautiful, and obviously we've got a lot to talk about with the house, but first let's talk about the parking space. These are some beautiful gardens here.
Yeah, this is beautiful West Auckland. There's a nice little valley over there that extends all the way up across to the hill. We have like a livestock, we have chickens, we have alpacas, we have goats as well, and it's a very nice place. It takes a lot of maintenance, but I sure enjoy this.
And the gardens here really are beautiful, which of course makes sense because you do have a background in landscape architecture, don't you?
Yes, I did. In landscape architecture, I've learned that the key is not to allow the design to be seen so much. A more understated design usually works best because the moment someone notices it, it becomes jarring, it becomes in the way of something. And that's why it's better not to be noticed at all. But these days I do something else. I work in mental health at the moment, and I'm also studying to be a counselor.
Fantastic. And what kind of pulled you into that work?
I think I was just trying to find something a little bit more meaningful in my life. I felt that sometimes it's more meaningful to serve in a way that affects people in a deeper sort of way and a more meaningful way.
Absolutely. What a fantastic career path.
Yeah.
And a big change, but obviously a really significant one for you.
Yes.
And going back to the house and gardens, one of the things that I love that you've done here is you've really connected your home to the outdoors through this incredible outdoor space you've created. You've got the wood fire and beautiful seating area and everything out here.
Definitely the indoor-outdoor flow was a very, very big part of this design. It reflects also in my philosophy and what I practice. I practice Tai Chi, and the space to facilitate that is very important. I can practice in the grass, I can practice on a deck. It just feels like it's my own personal park.
Yeah, absolutely. And this looks like it's a phenomenal space for entertaining because I see you've actually set up an outdoor kitchen out here as well.
Yes, I do have 2 kitchens in the tiny house. I have, of course, the interior one, and this one is the one outside, which I can orientate in a way where I can face the guests. I can cook very aromatic food.
Always problematic in a tiny house.
Yes, and I'm Asian. I own that, and I'm very much inspired by strong flavors.
Yeah.
And sometimes the ventilator is not quite so powerful enough, so much better to do it outside.
One of the things that I like about this outdoor space that you've created as well is that you can completely enclose it. You've got the cafe blinds, and then you've also got the curtains to block out the sun when it gets too harsh.
Yes, and that really creates a different vibe in here. So on a rainy day, I might pull down the blinds and watch the rain trickle down. But at night, sometimes I might want to pull the blinds and cozy up the space and close it off a little bit and just contain some of the corners and create different feelings of space.
And of course, the house itself looks brilliant. What size is it?
The size is 10 by 3.
One of the things that I immediately like about the design is you've got the main entrance, but you also have a secondary entrance.
I love this main entrance. It opens up to the main area. And then that I'll call like the staff entrance because it leads into like an area where I can take off my boots and my wet weather gear and put it into the wardrobe. So it's kind of a self-contained little space within the tiny house.
Very clever. And can you tell me about the design of the home?
So the design is pretty much a customized version of one that is existing already. I really wanted to create a contrast between the iron exterior and also a smoother texture here, which I just had it painted. It's a bit of a balance between having it look like a ship on the outside and also having a lot of space and a lot of brightness on the inside.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, already what you've done with the exterior of this home is just so cool. I especially love this outdoor space, and I cannot wait to see what you've done with the inside of this home.
Come on in, welcome.
Let's go.
Thank you.
Oh, wow. This is incredible. With all of the amazing plants and everything you've got in here, it's almost a bit like walking into a garden, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And it's about living in the environment, really. So having a bit of the inside outside and the outside inside.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I enjoy planting. It's one of my main passions, gardening. So I love the idea of bringing it into the house as well.
Yeah, I especially like how you've got the loft up there, which is completely dedicated to the plants.
Yes, right now it is. I'm trying to do a little bit of space so that there's a bit of a place we can sit, meditate, or do some reading, or just generally to hang out. So when I open these sliding doors, it actually feels like a balcony up there.
What a great design. And one of the things that I immediately notice entering this home is it just has a tremendous sense of spaciousness. It really feels like a sizable room.
Yes, part of the idea is having a lot of headspace, especially when I have a lot of people here. It doesn't feel crowded.
Yeah, I completely agree. And adding to the cozy factor, you've got the fireplace up there as well.
I've got my high-tech fire.
The high-tech fire?
Yeah, high-tech fire, yes. I can have fire at all times at the press of a button.
Beautiful. It definitely adds a strong sense of ambience, doesn't it?
Yes, and the lighting is a big part of this house, and especially at night when I've got the lighting going, it really creates different vibes in here. And nothing beats having a little bit of an impression of a fire. I do have actually a proper wood burner, so I've got 2 types of fires, including one that's functional, which I use for cooking too. So yeah, have a variety of fires.
And this kitchen, wow. Clearly you are a man who loves to cook.
Thank you, yes. It's another passion of mine. I always have dreamed for a big kitchen, one with a lot of prep spaces, proper gas hot burners, nice oven, lots of my tools around. So I'm not very minimal on the cooking front, but I like to have my products on hand.
And you're certainly not going without anything in this kitchen. You've got a phenomenal sized cooker. Look at that thing.
Yeah, a 4-burner hob. It's such a luxury to have that because I think most people have like 2 and having 4, oh my gosh, so much flexibility.
No limits to what you can make in here. And lots of storage here as well?
Yes, plenty of storage, which I cycle between the service stuff and some of my school notes and workbooks and all. And then, of course, many storage options for spices and dishes and whatever knickknacks around.
Yeah. The design of the storage in here is quite interesting as well, because I haven't seen a tiny house that has the 2 corner cupboards like what you've got here.
Yes, so this design is kind of in response to the nose, which is part of the existing design of this house. The angle does cut in that way, but I really wanted to keep it quite square. So this is a way that I could resolve using the spaces in between to facilitate storage. So on the left side, I have more of my cooking equipment, and on the right side is a full pantry, which is quite well stocked at the moment.
Excellent. That's what I like to hear. Got to have a full stocked pantry.
Yeah.
With tiny houses, one of the things that people normally do is have a consistent flooring on the ground level, and if they're adding carpet or something like that, they'll generally do it in the sleeping lofts. But I really like how here you enter the home, you've got the beautiful carpet in the living space, and then it transitions into a ply floor in the kitchen.
Yeah.
Helps to create the different separation between the zones, doesn't it?
Yeah, totally. And it's part of the spatial design of this place. How do we make 2 different zones by having a singular space, a singular volumetric space?
Absolutely. And I really like how this kitchen window opens completely out and connects the home to the outdoor living space.
Yes, it's a little bit like a bar top. Potentially people can be sitting outside as well, but I like the idea that these kitchens are aligned.
Yeah, I like that a lot. Makes it very functional. And then over here in the living room, this is a really interesting space that you've created here.
Yeah, thank you. I designed this to be more of a multifunctional space. It's centered along this feature wall and this bamboo dining table, but also this futon here opens up into a bed. And then it also separates out, so it's actually 2 single futons.
What a great idea. So definitely a lot of bases just covered in that space. And I can also see that this is where you do a bit of work from as well. You've got your laptop there on the table at the moment.
Yeah, so sometimes I separate the spaces using the two halves of the table. One half I dedicate towards studying, and on this side, sometimes I keep it quite tidy for dining, and so I can use the table quite simultaneously.
Fantastic. And I see you've got the projector up there as well.
Yes, I do. So I have the option of having a projected movie night here, and also, as we'll explore later, also upstairs.
Very cool. And look at all the instruments you've got in here. You've got all the guitars, you've got the drum kit. This is very cool. So you're obviously a musician.
I was, and I still am in the sense
There's
that...
no such thing as was a musician. Once you're a musician, you're always a musician.
It's true. Thank you. Thank you. I focus my time more on jamming these days. I really enjoy the improvisational making music. I do enjoy playing the drums. It's a good stress relief. And guitars was my main instrument, and I used to play it for like 20 over years.
Very cool. Yeah. And just in general, the interior design in here is so cool. There is such fusion of styles and culture. This is a really cool space to be inside.
Thank you. I like to think that I'm adding a lot of my personality into this design. And some of these things I had since I was a baby. I like to honor the things that have me who the person that I am today.
I love that. And just from the perspective of coming into a home like this, I always love houses where everywhere you look, there's something interesting. And that's exactly what this space is like.
Thank you. Yes.
Yeah. And you've got the storage shelves for all the teapots over there as well?
Yes, and that's quite an important part of how I express myself as a Chinese New Zealander. There are some of these Chinese themes that's coming through, and it's part of me reconnecting with my culture, which I've felt that I've had a bit of separation from. And yes, so this table here, again, is also one that I can use for tea ceremonies. And I'm getting a lot of pleasure from doing that.
Beautiful. It definitely looks like a wonderful space for that you've created. And to that end as well, I love what you've done here with the full feature wall. That just becomes a really striking element in the room, doesn't it?
Yes, thank you. One of the things that I tried to resolve in this design is to tuck the staircase to the loft area in a way that's not visible in the main living space. This enables a full feature wall, which has a beautiful wallpaper, a nice feature painting, and yeah, it really stands out. So it becomes this main central feature, yes.
Yeah. And what do we have behind the curtain?
We have the sink, the walk-in wardrobe, the staircase, and the den.
Let's take a look. Oh, this is such a cool layout. What a great way of spacing everything out.
Thank you. Yeah, it's quite a self-contained little space here. I've got the bathroom and the toilet. It's kind of like it opens up into the walk-in wardrobe. And then upstairs we have the den.
Really compact stair design here as well.
Yeah, so it's definitely tucked away on the interior. I can use the space to store some clothes and all the things that I want to contain within like a walk-in wardrobe idea.
Great. And one of the things that I like about this is that you've separated the vanity from the toilet and shower. So if someone's in the shower or on the toilet, you've still got access to the basin.
Yeah,
that's really
absolutely.
nice.
And absolutely. And this is also very handy for guests to come here to wash their hands if they need to.
And you've got the collection of earrings there as well?
Yeah, well, I don't wear them. They're my partner's. And she has a little passion of recycling bicycle tires and making earrings out of them. So she has a little side practice on that, and that's really, really fun to be part of.
That is really cool. But she doesn't live here with you full time?
No.
Just part-time at the moment?
Yes.
Very cool. And in the bathroom, good sized shower, and you've got a macerating toilet here as well. So you're connected to septic, are you?
Yes, I am connected to septic, and the macerating toilet is such a luxury, especially when you have guests.
And you mentioned before, full walk-in wardrobe. Again, that's a real luxury.
Yes, we can fit two people working on the morning routine in here. The mirrors on the closet actually give an impression of a lot more space, so it doesn't feel really too constrained, and it gets quite light as well because of the reflections. So yes, plenty of storage space.
And behind the curtain here is the secondary entrance that we spoke about before.
Yeah, yes. I can mop up the floor. It doesn't affect the carpet too much, so it's better for cleanup.
Yeah, great. And we've got the den upstairs. Can we check that out?
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool.
Come on up.
After you. Oh, this is so cool. You've got a furry wall up here.
I have a furry wall, yes. It's part of the bear den idea, I guess. It really softens up the hardness of the space. I think if it's going to be quite small and quite low-studded, I really liked it to be quite cozy.
Yeah, the use of the material up here just adds so much texture, both on the furry wall and also what you've done here with the canvas walls.
I like the section-y kind of coziness about it.
Yeah.
It does create a different vibe.
And coming up into this space, it is exactly what you want out of a sleeping loft. It's sort of a little bit darker. It's really calming and relaxing in here, isn't it?
Yes, I've got a small window here, but when I shut the blinds like that, it actually really cuts out a lot of the light. It makes it really, really cozy. And I'm quite fortunate to have a heat pump over here, and conditioning unit, which really keeps this whole area quite cool when I need to, especially in the summer.
Great. You've got the projector up here as well?
Yes, I do. So this blinds actually have a dual purpose of being a projector screen as well.
Great.
So when it's down, I can have movie nights in here, and it's just an awesome way to spend a relaxing evening. I actually enjoy really, really small den-like sleeping arrangements. This is not spacious enough for the average person, but the design is actually reflective of what I want in the space.
Absolutely. And so how long have you been living in the tiny house now?
I've been living here for a little bit more than a year.
Very cool. And how are you finding tiny house life so far?
Super, super, super enjoyable. It's like my little retreat place that I come to every day. As a young person, I've traveled a lot. I've moved countries a lot, and I've moved cities. And I always felt like I haven't had my roots down ever. It's not that I don't want to do that ever again, but I like the idea of coming back to home. If the space were to reflect who I am, it feels like I'm coming back to a sense of wholeness when I'm back home. And so everything here reflects home from an inside to an outside perspective.
And can we talk about the cost that was involved in bringing the space to life?
Yeah, so I didn't build this tiny house entirely. I had the shell made, and then I fitted it out, the interior and design. I spent $222 on this house and the deck inclusive.
This is a really beautiful home that you've created for that money.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes.
And now the home is complete and everything is really functional. What does the future hold for you?
Who knows what the future holds for me? I sometimes just go with the flow. It's my name, Fabian Low. I think it's worked out the best because sometimes I did involve myself in a lot of planning before, and sometimes leaving things to a certain degree of spontaneity can be quite exciting, and then unexpected things happen. So I'm being optimistic about what the future brings without being too prescriptive about what it's going to be.
I like that a lot. Fabian, it is really incredible what you've created here. I love the character that you've built into this home. I love how much of your personality shines through. You have created an incredibly special home for yourself here. Thank you so much for sharing it with me.
Thank you, Bryce. Thank you for visiting today.
The pleasure's all mine. From the moment that I entered this home, I was immediately struck by its character and its vibrance. Everywhere you look in this home, there is something to grab your attention. But beyond all of that, this is a home that has been created with true mindfulness. It's designed around all of the things that make you happy and connecting you to the gardens, connecting you to friends, family, to food. And ultimately, what that has done in this home is it has just created the most incredible sense of a place that grounds you. And, well, it's just wonderfully done.